Episode 22. It is your great auntie's cousin's favorite podcast, the Debt Row Podcast. My name is Davidson Baker. To my right is Joshua Sears. Bradley Davis is having some technical difficulties. Hopefully he can get it figured out and join us live at some point. However, I know this man to my right had a hell of a weekend. Josh, coming back from North Carolina, a lot of tweez, a lot of golf. How you feeling?
A lot of golf. Still recovering. It's a long weekend, but I'm glad to be home. Missed a lot of football because I was on the road driving home Sunday, but I tried to catch up as best as I could today. So excited to talk about it.
Let's get right into it. The NFC East is now interesting. Dallas 33, Philadelphia 13. The Cowboys easily covered the number. It was never in doubt after they went up 7-0. And the under was kind of never in doubt as well. The number that high, I don't think there's been a single total in the 50s that's cashed the over all season. Maybe one, but I don't remember which one that would be. So here's the deal with this. Dallas at this point, as we've alluded to on the pod, looks like they're playing much better football at this moment than Philadelphia does. I'm not going to write off Philadelphia just because they have found ways to get in. Let's see if this works. Brad, does it work?
Got him in.
What's going on?
Hey,
Hey,
all right.
we
Had
got
some
him.
difficulties, but we're here. I'm here.
All right.
There we go.
All right. Well, you didn't miss hardly
Awesome.
anything. I was just saying Philadelphia is obviously between these two teams is not playing better football between the two. However, as we've documented on this podcast, the easier schedule the rest of the way is by far and away the Eagles. The Eagles have the Seahawks, the Giants twice, and the Cardinals, where the Cowboys still have to play the Bills, the Lions, the Dolphins, and, you get that game against the Commanders in Week 18. That should be a step over. But those are three tough games. So as far as this division goes, Dallas does have the tiebreaker as it stands. However, there's still a lot to be played, and you kind of still have to favor Philadelphia just given the road that remains for both of these teams, Brad.
Yeah. The biggest thing right now is if, like you said, Dallas can hold on to the division with a really tough schedule coming up. They play Buffalo and then they play the Dolphins. Those are going to be two, big games for them. And like you said, the Eagles have a really really easy schedule coming up. I don't think the Seahawks game, I guess, depending on if Geno does play or not, that could be a little bit of a tougher game for them. Given that the Seahawks will probably be still fighting for a playoff spot. But like you said, the rest of the way, you got the Giants twice. They haven't really been playing all that great. And then the Cardinals, they're kind of hit and miss from week to week. So, looking at it, yes, it looks like Philly should regain control of the division. But I don't know, just these past few weeks, they haven't looked that great defensively and even offensively too. So, those struggles are still there for them. And they don't want to catch a scenario where they lose to one of these teams and, Dallas wins out and they're going to have to be going on the road in the playoffs. But like you said, Philly, it looks like while they lost last night and they've, recently lost control of the division, it seems like they still kind of hold their destiny for that division.
Josh, I want to circle back to something you and I talked about after the Philadelphia Buffalo game.
Yeah.
I was adamant that I wanted the bye if I'm San Francisco. And being a 49ers fan, when I say that, I'm talking about the 49ers having the bye. If Philadelphia wins the division, I don't know if I want the bye, because think about it. If Dallas ends up as the 5,
you don't want to give Philly that time.
But I also,
to heal up.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not worried about Philadelphia after seeing Philadelphia and San Francisco on the same field. Dallas getting another crack at us, playing much better football, worries me more than Philadelphia does. And if, let's just say this all transpires, Dallas ends up with the 5. They beat the dog piss out of the NFC South champion. And like the 6 ends up being Green Bay. Let's say they lose to Detroit, and let's say the 7 is either like Minnesota or the Rams, and they lose to San Francisco, or they lose to Philadelphia. San Francisco's got to play Dallas right away in the divisional round.
Yeah.
Ideally,
I don't know if I want that.
You want Dallas winning this division is what you want. You want to see them catch them as late as possible. I think.
But I don't want them to have the bye. The one thing I don't want is the Niners to slip up, and then we have to go to Dallas instead of the Cowboys coming to us.
And them coming off a bye too, being very healthy. That I don't know. They've been playing lights out right now. I wouldn't want to see a scenario where they win out, get the first seed, and get that that bye. Like, whew, that's gonna be tough. That's gonna be tough. That's gonna be very tough.
I just wanted to bring that up because I was adamant to you, Josh, about how no matter what, I want the bye. I'm thinking about it a little differently.
I was on the other end of that coin.
Yes.
For slightly different reasons I felt that way, but I understand where you're coming from. These two teams are trending in talking about Philly and Dallas. They're trending in completely opposite directions right now. And I know that Philly has the easier schedule and Dallas has a little bit tougher of a road, but I still think Dallas is going to win out. And I think Philly's probably going to have a hiccup again. Like, I think they're probably going to drop one of the games against the Giants. You're playing a division team twice in 3 weeks. It's not going to be easy. Like, I get that the Giants are the Giants and they're starting Tommy DeVito, but it's a divisional game all the same. That's the Giants' Super Bowl.
The Seahawks, their season's on the line next week too, pretty much.
I think they'll handle that. I think they'll handle that game. The Giants worry me more than Seattle if I'm an Eagles fan. I'd like to see how Rob feels about this, our buddy that's an Eagles fan. But
you got to go to Lumen in prime time.
No love for the Cardinals. Cardinals aren't going to get a little run for their money.
They've packed it in.
Maybe they're coming off a win.
They are a big win too.
Yeah, dude, Pittsburgh sucks.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's not any good.
Yeah.
It will be interesting to see what happens down the road. I think just knee-jerk, just given the schedules that both of these teams have remaining, it still feels to me like Philadelphia will come away with the division, but I've been wrong a billion times on this podcast this year. The call heard round the world. Yes, we have. Yesterday, when Kadarius Toney's index toe was in the neutral zone. Look, I think it's very plain and simple. They made the correct call. However,
didn't need to be made.
They also didn't give him a warning all game, and he was doing it all game. Dan Orlovsky came out today on ESPN and showed film of 5 or 6 different examples where he was doing this all game. And you don't call it all day, and then you decide to call it right then and there.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with the call. I have a problem with the consistency in which it was not called and the manner in which they were not warning the Chiefs that this was taking place. So how the hell were they supposed to know? Tony, lining up all game, thinks that he's doing nothing wrong. It's fascinating to unpack. It really is.
Yeah, Tony still should be cut.
By the way, Buffalo 20, Kansas City 17 for audio listeners.
Yeah,
Buffalo covered under 49.5.
Yeah, Tony still should be cut. Like, the guy he's probably lost them more games than he's helped them win this season.
Lost them 2.
Maybe in his Chiefs career. Like, I get that he helped them win the Super Bowl last year. What other game has he really helped them really win dramatically? But
I can't really think of any.
Lost them 2 games this year, this and week 1.
Yeah, week 1 was bad.
Yeah.
So,
how many drops did he have in that game? I feel like 7.
3 or 4.
And I think it was Ryan Clark. Like, Patrick Mahomes is getting a tough scene in a lot of media circles today, which I think is partially well deserved for how he's acted about some things.
Agreed.
And his post game comments to Josh Allen were ridiculous. But
Can't be doing
he's
that.
also doing a lot of this out of just trying to back his teammates that are quite frankly dog shit. Like they've been terrible, and he's still trying to like support them, even though he's frustrated. I think it's a tipping point for him. So I understand it, but you got to compose yourself better. You've had a lot of success in your career, and if this is how you're dealing with your first bit of adversity in your career, like sustained bit of adversity, it's gonna be interesting to see how things go from here, I think.
You say sustained adversity too, and we're talking about a team in first place.
I know. That's the thing.
But they don't look like the Chiefs.
This is rock bottom for his career so far, and they're still in first place.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the Broncos are starting to heat up a little bit. They're starting to catch up to them. They're only one game back. They're only one game back right now.
If they win in Detroit this weekend, it's on in that division.
Yeah.
It's
game on. A terrible football game to watch.
Them at Detroit.
It is.
Yeah, that's going to be awful.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it might be a close game, but it's going to be ugly as hell to watch.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Lions defense can't stop a nosebleed.
That's true. Hey, Russell Wilson, he's been playing pretty well. Like
well's a loose term. He's got like the lowest ADOT in the NFL.
Yeah, but compared to last year, it's like 10 times better than last year. Last year was pretty ugly. But
yes, yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing with Patrick Mahomes getting upset, I mean, like, it's in the heat of the moment. Losing a game like that, you never want to lose in those kind of situations. And like you pointed out, like the refs, consistently all game weren't calling it, and in that moment they call it. It felt very weird. It felt like, the officials coming in again, to decide a game, in a very, important game for both sides of the spectrum for the Chiefs and the Bills. But you got to give it to the Bills, man. They've been fighting a lot. This was the first time that their defense. I know that it was because of a pretty bad late call from the refs, but their defense came up with a stop. That's something that they haven't been able to do all season. Their defense has consistently let them down. So for them to come up with a stop and and actually get them a win was pretty impressive. But
yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a good win for him. He deserves it.
Yeah, and he played pretty well too. I think offensively, it was more so defensively for the Kansas City Chiefs. Trying to contain Josh, and he made some crazy throws. That one
he does it every week, man. He does.
Yeah,
the one to Latavius Murray.
Yes, dude, crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy, dude.
And Latavius Murray almost fumbled it.
He's been getting slandered way too hard in the media.
It is. It's crazy. Agreed. He continues to have to play hero ball every week.
That's why he's not even a high turnover rate. It's why he leads the league in turnovers. His turnover rate isn't even that high for his usage.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's
unfair. His turnover worthy throws are one of the lowest. His turnover worthy plays is one of the lowest. He's just very unlucky.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, he's playing hero ball every week. He's consistently trying to get this team to win. And it's just everything around him collapses. So it was nice to see, not that happen, not again. You got to give props to, Buffalo's defense for holding Kansas City. It's not easy to, contain Kelsey and Mahomes. But I mean, and also another thing too, we've talked about it extensively on this podcast. It isn't going to happen this year because there's no one really to get in free agency right now. But Kansas City is going to have to go out and get someone in the offseason. They these receivers.
Who's the wide receiver equivalent of Joe Flacco?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Dude, just get someone in the draft. Just get someone in the draft. There are going to be really good receivers on the board in between 25
everywhere.
And 32. Just get someone in the draft.
T. Higgins is going to be a free agent. I mean, what do we think about T. Higgins potentially going to Kansas City?
I mean, are they going to pay him wide receiver 1 money? I don't think so.
No, I think
I mean,
down the stretch of the rest of the season, they just need to force feed Rashee Rice as much as possible
yeah.
and
Which,
let him
listen, he's
continue to
not.
develop, and then put another young guy beside him next year.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I
But
don't think Rashee Rice is bad, but like,
he
I don't
played
think.
well Sunday.
Yeah, he did. But I don't see him right now as number one. I think it's the same thing with Scott
No,
Moore
they don't
last
have a
year,
number
where he's
one.
we're like just none of these receivers are stepping up to be that guy. So I don't know, but yeah, give props to Buffalo. They played really good last night.
Rice is more of a number 2, but like it will not be that difficult for Kansas City, I think, in the draft. Go get yourself an Adonai Mitchell or a Brian Thomas.
Xavier
or
Worthy.
I think
Yeah.
I don't know if Worthy will be there if they're picking like between 28 and 32. Dude, a guy that you guys are going to hear me cream about over the next few months that you'll probably be able to get in late round
cream.
2, early round 3. Cream. Malachi Corley out of Western Kentucky is going to be an absolute monster at the next level. You heard me say it here first. Go get him. And he's got a round 2, round 3 grade right now. This dude has almost 5,000 career yards and almost 50 touchdowns at Western Kentucky. He's going to be a problem in the NFL. Go get him. Just do something. Just do anything. In a game that felt more like you watched Oppenheimer twice in a row, this game fucking took almost 5 hours. Realistically, it almost took a full 4. It was almost 4:45 when Jacksonville and Cleveland ended. How that happens, I have no idea. But we missed almost the entire Chiefs-Bills first quarter because this game took so fucking long.
It lasted longer than the overtime 1:00 game.
Yeah, it did. It did.
Unbelievable.
I don't get that at all. They got to figure that
how
shit
that
out.
works.
Nevertheless, Cleveland wins 31-27 and ends up covering all the numbers because Jacksonville decides for whatever reason to go for 2 down by 4 right before the onside kick. The over was never in doubt. Should have put it in the pick 5, Brad. I said you and I both talked about it last week.
Yeah.
I mean, the over in this game was one of our favorite plays. Holy Joe Flacco, guys.
Yeah. He's back.
Is this team's ceiling? Has this team's ceiling been elevated, or is this just a subject of Jacksonville's defense is not any good, or both?
Well, they sent him back to the practice squad today. So,
but that's probably because they want to sign somebody, and then they'll inevitably cut somebody just to make room for them on the 53.
Other people you can do that with. He's eligible to go sign with other teams right now if he wanted to. I mean, it's not going to happen.
Brad and I talked about that today. But he's already – Stefanski already said he's their starter, and Flacco has already said he doesn't want to go anywhere. So, I mean, if you trust him –
it makes sense. But,
if you trust him, why not?
It's a lot of trust in a guy to be your quarterback and just make him available for whoever to go get.
I mean,
in theory.
I get what you're saying for sure, but like, I mean, who at this point is going to go out and do it? Like the Jets aren't; they're out of it.
I feel like the Vikings would. I mean, listen, Josh
maybe.
Dobbs did not play
they might
good.
roll with Nick Mullins.
Mullins is playing.
You think so?
Yeah, dude. Mullins.
You think so? I don't know.
Mullins is probably like I get. Flacco had this really good game, but Mullins at this point in his career is probably better than Flacco at this point in his career.
Yeah,
probably can make more downfield throws.
Yeah.
And
bigger he can arm. Definitely. He can. I don't know about bigger arm even. Honestly, I think he just can create more.
Yeah,
like, Flacco can't move. If you move him off his spot
back there,
if you move him off his spot, it's over.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Oh God,
I don't know. I didn't watch a lot of this game. I thought it was going to be a blowout for a while.
I watched like every snap of this game.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It was 31-27.
Yeah, dude, but it was a blowout for like the first portion of it, and you also spent like 5 hours of your day on
it. What?
Go ahead, Brad.
So I was like back and forth on this game. Was like there a delay at one point, or like was it just no? It just that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
It just fucking took so long.
Yeah,
Was there a lot of penalty? Yeah, there was a lot. 15 penalties.
There were 7 turnovers, and you go
Were
to
there a
commercial
bunch of
after every
reviews?
turnover.
Was there a bunch of
Penalties, there were
reviews and shit?
15 combined penalties.
15 penalties. Did you remember reviews happening? A bunch of reviews happening?
The only one I remember distinctly was the one that won me my parlay with the Etienne touchdown being reviewed.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes. That one took forever. I did see that one.
Yeah!
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily all about Flacco being great. I think it's more so has to do with Jacksonville's defense being awful. They are
Yeah, they're
so
bad.
bad. They're really,
Really
bad.
bad.
And going into the
Confident
season, I didn't.
quarterback play helps.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean Trevor Lawrence, my God, 3 interceptions. Like, listen, I know he's injured and whatnot, but I mean, like, if he isn't ready to go and he's not in the right headspace, you don't start him. You know, especially in a game like this where you kind of need a win to get your leg up a little bit more in that division. I know the Colts lost and the Texans lost, but you also lost too. So like, you're not running away with that division yet. But my God, going into the season, I didn't think Jacksonville's defense was, like the best in the league, but I thought they were really good. They have a lot of playmakers on that side of the ball, and it's just been week by week they're just getting burnt. Getting gashed in the run game. It's just like I don't know what the hell's going on with their defense right now. It's
good
bad.
Things. Not good things. Other than Foye Olakun, name one good player on that defense. Trayvon Walker, are we ready to put
Josh Allen?
Josh
Allen's
okay.
a baller.
But are we ready to put
corner?
Trayvon
They've got
Walker
one good
in
corner,
bust?
right?
Jenkins?
Nah, I'm thinking of there's a younger guy playing corner. I want to say he wears number 23.
His name escapes me at the moment, but
Yeah.
I think you know who I'm talking about though.
Yeah,
Or have a roundabout idea. Yeah.
Are we ready to put Trayvon Walker in bust category?
Dude, I never entertained him being a good NFL player from the
they
moment
really
he
passed
drafted.
on Hutch to take him.
Could you imagine Hutchinson and Josh Allen? Oh my God, that would have been nasty.
Yeah, that'd be a problem.
That would have been nasty. Yeah.
Oh man.
But they decided not to.
Yeah, I don't get
that. It'd be like Nick Bosa and Chase Young light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No.
It feels like though Jacksonville has had opportunities to shut the door on this division, and 2 weeks in a row now after beating the Texans, and we've declared them dead on this podcast, talking about the Texans winning this division, and we'll talk about the Texans in a bit. But the Jaguars just are leaving the door open. There's 2 teams breathing down their neck, 1 game behind them. So.
Yeah.
More to come with that. And the Jaguars' schedule does not get any easier. They got to play Baltimore next week. So, speaking of Baltimore, 37-31 on a Tylan Wallace punt return touchdown. The Rams, honestly, were in front for most of this game.
Yeah.
And Baltimore just does what they do. They just found a way to win. The Ravens, and we're going to go ahead and take another stab at the officials here. If you go back and you look at the replay of the punt return, there's a very, give me a break, dude. There's a very clear and obvious block in the back on whoever number 88 is. I think that's Charlie Kohler.
Sounds right.
I think it is Charlie Kohler, Norman, Oklahoma's finest. But at the end of the day, Baltimore does what they do best. They found a way to win this game. They were losing at halftime. They were losing at the end of the third quarter and figured out a way to win. And Lamar made MVP-type plays. I think Lamar, I was about to say, I'm in your camp, Josh. I think he should get much more MVP talk than he is right now. I think we can comfortably say that the MVP is now a 3-horse race. It is Dak, it's Purdy,
honestly,
and it's Lamar.
I feel like Josh Allen should get consideration just because you take him off that team.
They're a 3-win team at best.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I get that. And, dude, his season hasn't even been that bad. Everybody's just blowing his numbers out of proportion. He's had a phenomenal season. He probably should be the real league MVP because he's the only one that is the most – him and Lamar are the most valuable to their team. Dak and Purdy have had the better years, in terms of team success. But those two guys, you take them off of their team, they're 3 to 5 wins probably. The Ravens may be a little better, but
Especially the Bills. Especially the
the
Bills.
Bills are done without Josh Allen. He is their offense.
Finished.
But sorry, not
Finished.
to get us on a tangent, but I just
Right.
wanted to give Josh Allen some much deserved love.
Yeah.
It looked at times that the Rams were going to take this game over, Brad, and put Baltimore in the rear view. But every time that they made a big play or scored or needed to get a stop or even got a turnover on a Witherspoon interception, they just could not keep Baltimore more than arm's length away. And when you keep teams like Baltimore in games like these, they're going to burn you. And that's what happened yesterday.
Yeah. And I mean, like
So
the
good.
Rams, I felt like this year they've had a pretty good defense, better than I thought they would be this year, but they're very young defensively right now. So, giving up really big plays is going to come when you have a defense that isn't as experienced as some in the league. But you guys kind of talked about it a little bit. I mean, my God, Lamar Jackson, I feel like every time I watch him, I get more impressed of his like pocket awareness. I feel like every game it continues to get better and better and better, and he becomes a better pocket passer each game. I want to put him in the MVP conversation, but you guys know me. I'm a big Tyreek fan. I cannot exclude someone who's on a historical pace that's going to do something, that no other receiver has done before.
Offensive player of the year.
Yeah, that'll be his award.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
Pencil
that'll
him
be the
in.
lock. That's the lock.
It's already written in. It's already written in.
It is. It is.
They started
God,
etching the name on the trophy.
And God rest his soul. Hopefully next year he doesn't get hurt or something, man, because it seems like right now Offensive Player of the Year has been a huge curse on players.
Yeah.
So, but it has been. It's been really bad.
Yeah,
But
it has.
I mean, listen, the Rams, they're still fighting for a playoff spot, even with the loss, this Sunday. They're still in the thick of it. They can still grab a playoff spot. They have a pretty – I can't remember exactly who they play coming up. I know they play us here in like 2 weeks, so
they
that'll
have the
probably be it.
Saints. They got to play the Saints. The last week of the season, they play the 49ers. They play the Commanders next week.
Win.
And in between that, they play the Giants. So pretty favorable schedule.
Probably
I mean, it's very likely they. No, I don't think so.
Is the game in New Orleans?
Yes. No.
Actually, does it really matter? The Rams
it's at SoFi
every week.
Yeah.
They do. It's at SoFi though.
Whether they're at home
but
or not.
It's still better to play at SoFi than in the Dome.
It is.
Yeah. Is that even I don't even know if that's even valid or not, but we won't talk about that. we won't talk about that, but
the Saints won 28-6, and it was the most unimpressive 28-6 win I've ever seen in my life. No offense, Brad.
It was ugly.
No offense,
dude. No offense, dude. No offense taken, dude. It was ugly. It was really ugly. But listen, I love Lamar. I think he's been playing out of his mind this year. I'm just not ready to put Tyreek over him.
Jalen Waddle just died.
Oh God.
Yeah, Waddle is down.
Sorry, the Monday night games just kicked off.
That was a hard hit coming across the middle. Congratulations to Dawson if that stands.
Oh man,
damn,
that's tough.
That's tough for me because I had him in one of my parlays. So, but hopefully he's okay. Hopefully he's all good.
So a hospital ball.
Yeah. It was a hospital.
A lot of hospital balls going around weekly, dude.
So depending on as we move along, depending on what number you got throughout the week, if you took San Francisco earlier in the week at -11, you're a happy man. If you waited for Geno to be declared out and took them at +14.5, you're a happy man. San Francisco 28, Seattle 16. The under got across the finish line by the skin of its by the skin of its teeth at under 44.5. San Francisco kind of just kept Seattle at bay most of this game. After being down 10-7, they ended up outscoring them 21-6 the rest of the way. And at this point, San Francisco has Arizona, and then they have Baltimore, and then they have the Rams in the last week, or then they have the Commanders, and then they have the Rams. So, it feels like they're going to take care of business against the Commanders and the Cardinals. The Rams game, depending on what they play for in Week 18, can be kind of up for debate. It's all about the game against Baltimore on Christmas Eve or Christmas evening for San Francisco.
I wouldn't be super confident about the Cardinals game just because Kyler has been a Niner killer in his career. Dude, they clearly don't know how to defend him. Like, that's been a case since his rookie year. That game's going to be far more interesting, I think, than people will give it credit for.
It's a 2-touchdown spread.
Not saying the Cardinals win, but 2 touchdowns is way too much for a fucking division game, especially in a game that's historically pretty close.
Yeah. And it's in Arizona where they furnish worst fucking field where defenders are just slipping and sliding.
You better just hope you get out of there with everybody healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope.
Sorry, don't mean to put that out into the.
No, you're absolutely right, though.
Well, that's not next week, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it is next week. Oh, okay.
I mean, they're coming off a tough game.
Yeah. 49ers remaining schedule in order is at the Cardinals, Ravens at home, at the Commanders, Rams at home.
Okay, yeah. So, I don't know. This game pissed me off because I took Seattle in our pick 5 at -11. They were in
plus 11.
First, plus 11, but not -11. Sorry about that. That would have been crazy if it was -11.
Time.
And they were in it. They were in it, and then they just completely collapsed. I didn't even know, going into it really if Geno wasn't going to play. So that was a whole another thing. I thought Locke played a pretty good game for
he did play well.
Being elevated up to the starter. Well. Yeah, being elevated up to the starter like almost right before the game starts. That's always a tough task to go into and perform well. I thought he played really well against a really good San Francisco defense. Brock Purdy had a really good game. The receivers for the 49ers are just starting to fire on all cylinders. It's becoming really dangerous, especially the run game too with Christian McCaffrey. That's something you can't take lightly either. So with Geno, would this have been a different game? Probably not. I wouldn't really think that, he definitely brings some aspects to the game, besides what, Locke can bring. But I think for the most part, this was just San Francisco beating up on Seattle again, and continuing their race to get to the first seed in the NFC.
And that's the significance of it. And the only reason why we talked about it on this podcast. We shaved multiple games off of this podcast tonight. If you were looking for hard-hitting Vikings Raiders coverage, you've come to the wrong podcast. You've come to the wrong place.
Yeah.
However, Cincinnati 34, Indianapolis 14. Indianapolis is now on my personal betting blacklist because when I bet against them, they're the 2008 Patriots. They're the 85 Bears. But when I bet on them, they poop and fart all over themselves like they did yesterday to the tune of a 20-point win for Cincinnati. That even saw an A.J. McCarron appearance towards the end of the game.
Dude.
I think Browning is fine. I think Browning will end up
hand cramp.
Yeah, I think Browning will end up playing next week. They got the Vikings at home on Saturday.
That's not Jake Browning. That's Joe Burrow wearing a Jake Browning jersey.
Joe Burrow 2.0.
Guys, Cincinnati if they take care of business the next 2 weeks, because the last 2 games are difficult. If they take care of business the next 2 weeks, they have the Vikings at home. It's escaping me. The Vikings at home, and then they're at the Steelers, who I know just beat them. But if it's Trubisky, I mean, give me a break.
Yeah.
They should be favored in their next 2 games. All of a sudden, we're talking about a team that is 9-6. Their final 2 games, though, are going to be what's tough. They have to go to Arrowhead in Week 17, and then they have the Browns, who are their daddies. The Browns, for whatever reason, have dominated the Bengals, Joe Burrow or not, in the last 3 years.
And they have that elite quarterback now.
They have Joe Flacco, yeah.
They have the elite quarterback.
So, that being said, though, I think the Vikings are in a tremendous spot. But let's think about this, though. All of the teams that we have said on this pod that are in a tremendous spot. Remember 2 weeks ago when I declared the Steelers absolute playoff locks? That doesn't look so good
Pooped
anymore.
all over themselves since then.
That doesn't look so good anymore.
Especially Thursday, dude. I couldn't believe it. We didn't even talk about the game Thursday, and it turned out to be a pretty good game, which was kind of wild.
Well, it was a great first half, and then they lulled you to sleep in the second half.
I barely watched it.
Patriots didn't even need to score in the second half and still ended up winning. So Cincinnati at this point is in a great spot. I mean, they're not in if the season ended today. It is the kiss of death.
The kiss of death.
They're not in if the season ended today, but I mean, dude, they look pretty potent on offense. And Jake Browning is dealing. Jake Browning is like the fighting pride of Washington.
It's not Jake Browning. It's Joe Burrow. You can't convince me otherwise. You can't convince me otherwise.
So Jake Brown, he's a rookie this year, right?
No,
he's in
he's not.
6.
Jake Browning led Washington to the college football playoff in like 2016.
He's the same age as Joe Burrow, I think.
You know what's going to happen? You know what's going to happen? He's gonna sneak his way onto a team.
The Jets.
A franchise is going to be like, this is our new starting quarterback. Look what he did in Cincinnati. Oh my! Who was the Packers quarterback? Oh my God!
Flynn.
Matt Flynn.
Yeah. He's a Matt Flynn, dude. That's exactly what he
is.
Yeah,
dude. And Flynn never started the game for the Seahawks.
I kind of like that comp.
Dude,
he never even won the job.
No,
he
got a bag.
Starting job.
They gave him a bag, and they drafted Russell Wilson.
He might be the Giants quarterback next year.
Oh God.
No.
Oh God.
All right, enough Jake Browning talk.
Yeah. In a game that was significant in the worst division in football, we have a 3-way tie atop. Tampa Bay 29, Atlanta 25. Baker Mayfield was horseshit for the first 56 minutes of this game. And then on the final drive, like I, as an Oklahoma fan, have seen him do many a time, put the squad on his back and led a 75-yard game-winning drive to win the game, which ended with a touchdown pass to Cameron Brate. Tampa Bay covers as an underdog. The over was never in doubt. I thought they were going to blow it in the fourth quarter when they allowed Atlanta. Did you guys see that Drake London catch?
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
my God. Bro, this Drake London catch is up there with one of the best catches of the season. Yeah. I mean, Ritter did not put it anywhere near where he could catch it. And of course,
surprise.
He came down with it. Ritter,
surprise.
Ritter cost them another game. So Ritter threw an interception when the game was 3-3, when they were inside their own 10. Tampa Bay scored 2 plays later. Ritter also fumbled in their own end zone, which ended up being picked up by either Algier or a fullback. I'm not really sure. That ended up being tackled in the end zone for a safety. So at the end of the day, Atlanta, we know what their ceiling is. Tampa Bay, we know what their ceiling is. The only significance this game carries is who's going to be able to grab that 4 spot as the NFC South champion. New Orleans with the win as well, but all these teams still have to play each other. The Saints still have to play the Falcons again. The Bucs still have to play the Saints again. So, we're going to find out a lot in the next few weeks about who's going to be the team that ends up winning this poop stain of a division.
This whole division should be annexed to the XFL.
Hey,
It should.
What happened in this Dolphins game, real quick? Why'd the Titans get the ball?
Fumbled the snap.
Oh, God damn it!
And then he picked it up, and then he fumbled again.
Oh no! Me and Josh are playing in fantasy right now, and our game kind of determines on who gets into the playoffs. And I have Tua starting, so that does not.
Does that count as 2 fumbles?
For me. It should.
Fumble recovery. Does he get some points for that?
-4? No.
Yeah.
Oh God! It's got to be a fumble loss.
Yeah. But no, this division sucks.
It needs to be sent to the XFL. Can we implement relegation?
Oh, that'd be so lit. The NFL would never, owners would never allow it, but it would be so awesome.
God, it would be awesome. We'd be the first team out.
It'd be so great.
Here's my thing about this division. Here's my thing about this division. Whoever wins this division, I think long term is fucked. Like, I really do.
Yeah, because they're going to be picking in the 20s.
And what would even be worse? And
you're not firing anyone.
You know what would even be worse? If they somehow win a fucking playoff game. That would even be 10 times
the Cowboys
worse.
Or the Eagles. That's not happening.
Oh, no.
Listen, I'm not
a big guy. Will Levis just threw it straight to the D tackle for a touchdown.
Of course he did.
Poor Will Levis. He didn't put the mayo in his coffee this morning.
So Miami Dolphins first touchdown, defense first touchdown cashes.
Wow.
Yikes.
Wow.
Is that Seiler? I think that was Seiler.
Yeah, but this division sucks. I absolutely hate it. I mean, like, sure, the Saints won this week too, which makes it a little bit more competitive. But like ultimately, like I said, I think whoever wins this game, wins this division, is going to be ultimately fucked because they're going to have – I don't see a scenario where you fire a head coach. I mean, some teams have done it before. Some teams have made the playoffs and even won a playoff game, and then they fire their head coach.
But I just don't see should be fired.
Yeah, it really should. It really
Players
should.
included.
I feel like all teams just need a complete reset in this division because it's just ugly. But I think right now, I feel like Tampa's kind of my pick right now to win the division. I feel like overall around like the whole roster has that, experience of, coming late, into the season and being able to take a hold of the division just like last year. Sure, they don't have Tom Brady, but Baker Mayfield, while he's had his downs, I think he's been. But here's the thing: he's been more consistent than all.
Division is getting boat raced in the first round. It doesn't even.
No,
matter.
They are
immediately.
Don't get me wrong. They are.
They're getting beat by probably. Like, it might be a 2-touchdown spread in the first round of the playoffs for whoever gets in.
And they're going to be at home.
I mean, shit, last year.
It'll be like a touchdown spread.
I mean, shit, Tampa last year hosted the game against Dallas, and they got their asses fucking kicked. So, like, it's just going to be the same thing over again. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Real quick,
it'll be ugly.
Saints remaining schedule: Giants, at Rams, at Bucks, at Falcons. Bucks remaining schedule: at Packers, Jaguars, Saints, at Panthers. Falcons remaining schedule is, I don't know whose is easier. Falcons remaining schedule is at Panthers, Colts, at Bears, at Saints. I might have to give the nod to the Falcons with the easiest schedule.
After listening to that
roster too.
Yeah, I think it might be the Falcons, which might fuck them too because they're going to need a quarterback, and if they're picking, in the bottom 20, I don't think there's who you think
there's a mock today, Bo Nix in round 2.
I'm
not in round 2.
I'm not.
I like Bo
Nix, so.
I'm not either, but I like Bo Nix more than I like JJ McCarthy. And people think JJ McCarthy is a first round quarterback. I
what the fuck?
I could not disagree more.
Yeah, no.
guys, what the fuck happened to the Houston Texans? This game was 0-0 at half, and I feel absolutely horrible for under 33 and a half bettors that thought they were coasting to the tune of, what was it? You had 2 touchdowns scored by the Jets, 1 missed extra point. I know Zerline made a gazillion field goals in the second half, but I mean, come on, man. 30-6, all in one half. And if we're going to put the stats on the screen, if you would have told me that this was the other way around, like look at some of these. 301 passing yards for the Jets, 95 for the Texans, 37 minutes of time of possession for the Jets, 22 minutes for the Texans. 6 of 15 on third down for the Jets. The Jets are the worst third down team in the NFL. And still, 6 of 15 isn't anything to be cheering about. But 1 of 12 for the Texans. You could have flipped these around, and I wouldn't have batted an eye at all. 30-6, man.
And listen, you even warned me before the game. You're like, do not bet the Texans.
I was betting on the Texans in the morning, and I cashed out.
I rode with it. I was like, yep, it's going to happen. What the fuck? This was ugly. This was so ugly. And it was coming from a Texans team that, has shown a lot of promise. They've also shown a lot of disappointment against teams that they should have beaten. I mean, they lost to the Panthers. Now they're losing to the Jets. It's like,
I will say this: with Nico and Tank Dell out,
yep, I knew you were going to say it.
We are seeing exactly what CJ Stroud would look like in Carolina.
Yes.
Does not matter who that team drafted. That's what it was going to look like.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair assessment. Yeah.
But that's my only really thing on this game. And Zach Wilson gave his once a month make you believe game.
Everyone in the building's like, yeah. And then next week he's going to throw like 3 interceptions.
He played like he had nothing to lose. And I mean,
as he
definitely showed. I was on the phone with Josh in the third quarter when I said, first touchdown just happened. And it's Randall Cobb.
I was befuddled.
Packers legend.
And then they just kept coming and kept coming.
Yeah.
And kept coming. But all right. So we've covered the games that Giants just missed a field goal.
Damn.
We have covered the games that we are going to cover. Like I said, if you came for hard-hitting Vikings Raiders analysis or hard-hitting Panthers Saints analysis, go somewhere else. Let's talk about the AFC. Let's talk about the AFC playoff picture. So right here, we have 11 teams. I'll zoom in on it a little bit so that it's a little clearer.
Bills are getting
and here's all the fucking dude. Look at the tiebreaker explanation for the Steelers. It's like 2 paragraphs in Times New Roman font.
Go figure.
The Browns right here are sitting pretty comfortably as the only wild card team that's won 8 games. And to be honest with you, the Browns look to me like the best wild card team on both sides of the ball, especially with Joe Flacco. I know, right? Well, I picked the Browns to win the division in the preseason. The Baltimore has exceeded my expectations, but definitely not this way. And I mean, dude, they might not even be 8-5 with Watson. Like that's the crazy.
Probably not. Probably not.
They were 2-1 with DJ Walker for fuck's sake.
Yeah, he was playing really bad when he was starting.
He was awful.
Yeah.
So let's go around here. The Ravens are in control, I think. They're going to play the Dolphins with what could very likely be the 1 seed on the line in a couple of weeks. They got to play Jacksonville next week at Jacksonville. The Colts have already lost twice to Jacksonville. So, I mean, their chances of winning the division are very slim.
Out. Done.
However, the Colts could also beat the Texans twice and if the Colts end up beating the Texans twice and the Jaguars have 2 wins over the Colts and the Colts and Texans split, or in the Jaguars and Texans split, rather, the Jaguars get the tiebreaker because they would have the highest win percentage amongst divisional games. They would get the tiebreaker. So the Jaguars still seem like they're pretty firmly in there. I want to ask you guys as we move down to 6 through 11, everyone beyond 11, Chargers, Raiders, Jets, Titans are done.
Yep. Bills are getting in.
What? Yeah, I was about to
so
say,
too.
Bills are
what
getting
team,
in.
even though the Bills are the lowest on this list, the Bills also have a treacherous remaining schedule. They got to play Dallas. They got to play Dallas. Okay. Then they play the Chargers.
I'm not giving them a win in that one. Chargers.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah.
I just
then they play. Then they have a major revenge game at home against the Patriots.
They're winning. Yeah, they're winning that one.
And then they play the Dolphins in Week 18, who the Dolphins might be trying to fight for the 1 seed, and it's in Miami.
Or just to keep the Bills out.
And you never know. So 2 tough games and 2 pretty easy games for the Bills remain. However, being that there are 6 teams, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams.
Are the Steelers winning 3 out of 4? Or
I'm not confident. Yeah, I'm not confident in them to do it.
The Steelers are currently field goal underdogs at Indianapolis next week. Then they play the Bengals at home, which will also carry a lot of significance. Then they are at Seattle, who knows? Seattle could be out of it at that point. Then they're at the Ravens. And the Ravens could already have the 1 seed locked up at that point and not play anybody.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it. I could see a scenario where the Broncos and Bills trade places with the Steelers and Colts. Like, to me, that seems like a very logical thing because I think both teams are just playing a little bit better than some of those teams right now. I know that there's a little bit that the Broncos would have to go in their way. But I mean, and they have the tiebreaker over the Bills. So if it came down to the Broncos and the Bills, the Broncos would get that. So I don't know. I still like the possibility of the Bills getting in, but I just don't see the Steelers holding on. I mean, they played so inconsistently these past few weeks. Losing to the Patriots was just not a good, thing for them, confidence wise. But I don't know. This is
Tyreek Hill down.
Yep, your MVP just went down.
Is Tyreek Hill down?
What happened?
Yep, and it looks like a knee injury.
Oh Lord,
he's down on the sidelines.
He's down, like
damn.
Bad.
No, these injuries.
He's getting up.
Injuries this year have been just a killer, man.
He's getting up. He's hobbling though.
Bro, we're talking about potentially Joe Flacco being the starting quarterback for the Browns. Injuries have been fucking crazy this year.
Yeah.
We're talking about Jake Browning potentially taking the Bengals to the fucking playoffs.
It's not like he hasn't played well. Year, bro? He's played very well.
He has played pretty well.
Tyreek will be back.
Yeah, he does this every week. I think he'll be.
He does this every week.
He did against the Commanders.
He does it every week. I thought he broke his hand a couple weeks ago.
So, I mean, on that topic though, how else would we follow up Thursday Night Football and make Al Michaels want to throw up in his mouth rather than follow up Mitch Trubisky versus Bailey Zappi than on this upcoming Thursday, Easton Stick versus Aiden O'Connell?
Ew.
The best. Let's move to the NFC.
Ugly, man. Oh.
The NFC seems a lot more straightforward at this point outside of the NFC South. I think 1, 2, and 3 are locked, given, 2 being the NFC East champion, 3 being the Lions, and or 1. Let me rephrase that. 3 is locked and 4 is locked. 3 is going to be the Lions. 4 is going to be the NFC South champion.
Yeah.
If the 49ers run the table, they're the 1. If the Cowboys can somehow run the table in their last 4 games and end the season on a 9-game winning streak, they're going to be the 2 if the 49ers win out. So the big fluctuation here is 1, 2, and 5. 49ers, Cowboys, Eagles. How did those last 4 games pan out for all those teams? If the Packers win tonight, them and the Vikings have a little bit of a stranglehold on what you see here, 8 through 11, Rams, Seahawks, Falcons, Saints. It's hard to believe that some of these NFC South teams still have life in the wild card, but they're only a game out. And if the Packers lose tonight, the Packers would still have the 7 seed over the Rams and the Seahawks. However, I think the Falcons would jump into the 7th spot.
I was about to say
with a win over the
tiebreaker. Yeah, they have the tiebreaker
with a win over the Packers.
Let me just crazy say because the Packers were going to win that game and they completely choked it.
Let me just say this about the Rams, bro. Do we realize they're 2-7 against teams not named the Cardinals or the Seahawks? They're 4-0 against the Cardinals and the Seahawks, and they're 2-7 against everyone else.
They're not very good.
Like, what are we doing? They're not very good.
It's the NFC.
I mean, they beat up on bad teams. So, I mean, like.
It's the NFC, dude. The NFC is not good.
Yeah, I mean, that is true. So, the whole NFC is going to come down to, I think, ultimately how the Packers finish out their season, because I feel like that's going to be the team that gets that final wild card spot. Like, I
think they might win the division.
The Lions aren't going to lose enough games for that to happen, I don't think.
They just dropped another one.
So the Lions' remaining schedule,
and then they keep dropping.
Lions' remaining schedule is, if the Lions lose to the Broncos, it's game on. But Lions have Broncos at home. And did you have Jaden Reed first touchdown?
I did.
It just cashed, I think. It cashed. Congratulations. It just cashed.
Thank you.
No flags on the field. Congratulations.
I needed that.
Yeah, you did. Nice. And it was a handoff, too.
I'll take it.
Jet
sweep.
Damn it. I said it, too, on this podcast. I was like, I like Jaden Reed. But so Lions' final 4 games, I know this off the top of my head because I've thought about it all day. Lions' final 4 games are Broncos at home, Vikings, Cowboys at home, at the Vikings. So
they're losing
one of the 2 to the Vikings. I feel like they are too. Can they beat the Cowboys even at home? So that's 2 losses. And if they lose to the Broncos, that's 3.
Tiny hands.
They lose to the Broncos, that's 3. And then on top of that, the Packers have one of the easiest remaining schedules. Bro, they still have the Bucks, the Panthers. I looked at this earlier today. Bucks,
Giants currently.
Bucks, Panthers, Giants currently. The Bucks are at home. Bucks at Panthers, and then they have Vikings in Minnesota, and then the Bears.
I mean, listen, the Bears, the Bears have been playing pretty well, but I think overall
we'll get to that.
Yeah, I think it bodes very well for them.
I think that's a bad matchup for the Bears, but yes, we will get to that, and we'll go ahead and expedite it with our discussion about the draft. So, as this stands at 8:53 p.m. on December 11th, 2023, the year of our Lord, Bears, Patriots, Cardinals, Commanders, Giants are the top 5. If both favorites hold serve tonight and the Giants and Titans lose, the Commanders will move back to 6, and the Giants will be at 4, and the Titans will be at 5. Let's take a look at Tankathon's latest mock draft. They have Caleb Williams going number 1 to the Bears, Drake May going number 2 to the Patriots, Marvin Harrison 3 to the Cardinals. The 2 offensive tackles, Fashanu and Joe Alt, at 4 and 5 to the Commanders and the Giants, respectively. Holy shit, Brock Bowers at 6 to the Titans kind of gets me excited.
Not me, dude. He'd go to the
yeah.
Titans.
Hey, but every young quarterback needs a go-to tight end, and that would be perfect. It would be perfect. I would actually love that placement for him, and I would love that placement for the Titans as well. Malik Neighbors at 7 to the Bears. Jaden Daniels at 8 to the Raiders. And a couple of guys that's
I would hate that.
That's gonna be a very I kind of like it too. I would like Jaden Daniels more in Tampa Bay than Las Vegas, but let's talk about it.
I like him as the Giants.
You like him so you think they should take him at 5? I don't know if the Giants are going to take a quarterback.
But why wouldn't
I can't see it. I just can't see him doing it.
Yeah,
I think the front office.
Tommy
DeVito.
Tommy.
My thing is they just paid. I know it sounds crazy. I mean, they just paid Daniel Jones all that money.
That was your only option.
Yeah, I mean, he's still young, so like, I think you build around him one more year.
I don't.
Yeah, I just don't know. My thing is with
nothing.
Yeah, my thing with Daniels to the Raiders is that I don't trust the Raiders organization. I just don't. And I don't trust their coaching staff. And I think it would be a terrible fit because he would be thrown into a situation where I don't think he'd be developed enough to where I think ultimately he would be thrown into the fire immediately. And he would have to start right away.
The nature of getting drafted as a quarterback.
Yeah. But
because Daniels is dynamic enough to where he could make it work.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, does Devontae Adams want to stay if that happens?
No.
Do you think
he's getting traded?
I don't think so either. Yeah, I don't think so either.
The only thing in the mock for me is Caleb at to the Bears.
Josh, something's wrong with your mic.
Right. Can you not hear me?
No, it's just clicking a lot.
All right, let me reset it.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, here's the big thing. Do the Bears really take Caleb Williams? I mean, like, I don't see it happening. I just don't, especially with the way with the way that Justin Fields has been playing, I don't see a scenario where they do that.
Oh, there's definitely a scenario. Can you hear me better? Is it clicking still?
Yeah, you sound better.
All right. There's definitely a huge scenario where they draft Caleb. If Eberflus is fired and they bring in a new head coach, Fields is gone. Like, you don't bring in another new head coach and keep the same quarterback. Because correct me if I'm wrong, Eberflus wasn't even the coach that drafted Fields, right?
No, he was not. That was Ryan Pace's pick. That was Ryan Pace's pick, and Matt Nagy had him.
Matt Nagy had him.
That's what it was.
He's not through 3 head coaches. It's just not happening. If Eberflus is fired, then that is the key sign that Caleb's going number 1. If Eberflus sticks around, then Fields is probably sticking around and they're trading back to build around him. That's going to be the key telltale sign. I think you trade back to the Patriots for an absolute haul.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the biggest thing is if the Bears somehow squeak out 7 wins this year, no one's leaving. Like, I don't see a scenario where that happens where you go from
Agreed.
Yeah,
I agree.
Eberflus has got to go, man.
Yeah.
If he wins 7 games, I don't know.
Which it is possible.
Oh wow! Like, oh my God, 7 and 10.
I get it.
It's a huge improvement. It's a huge improvement
They were the
over
worst
last
team
year.
in the league last year.
and you go to 7 wins, I would be very happy as a Bears fan.
And dude,
I'm
there's
happy.
there's some staple wins there.
You go from 1 win to 7 wins.
3
That's
wins to
huge.
7 wins.
Yeah, that's huge improvement.
There's some
showing
staple
improvement.
So
staple
let's get into it.
victories there.
Let's get into it. The last topic we have tonight. But before we do that real quick, just wanted to give background 9 and 10, couple guys we haven't talked about because we're going to talk about a lot of draft going into the next couple months. JC Latham, probably the best offensive tackle on the board, not named Olu Fashanu or Joe Hall. You know, it's honestly kind of a special offensive tackle group. It reminds me of the 2020 draft where you had Jedrick Wills and you had Tristan Wirfs and you had Andrew Thomas, which he looked like a huge bust at first, but Andrew Thomas has ended up being good. And then my favorite defensive
three.
My favorite probably. It maybe Wirfs has already been an all-pro. So, I mean, I don't know. But Jerzon Newton, the defensive lineman out of Illinois, he is clearly and obviously the best 3-technique defensive lineman in this draft. He is going to be an absolute monster going forward. I texted Josh about another defensive lineman I liked that's probably not a 3-down player in the NFL, Tavondre Sweat out of Texas. And he's just fucking so fun to watch. He is so fun to watch. He's 6'4", 355. He is so fun to watch. I hate Texas, but I can give it up when I see a player I like to watch. Tavondre Sweat is a unit of a human being, but since he's not going to be a 3-down player in the NFL, he'll probably end up being a 2nd or 3rd round pick.
Yeah.
Okay. Last thing. The Chicagoan conundrum. What does Justin Fields have to do the rest of the season to remain QB1 in Chicago? Here's the thing. Justin Fields played great yesterday, and I think we can all agree that Fields has played well enough to have at least a couple other, if not several other GMs in the NFL to have continuous faith in him as a starter in this league going forward. Dan Orlovsky did a huge soliloquy on Twitter yesterday where he said, if you watch Justin Fields, not only yesterday, but in the last couple of weeks, and don't think he's a capable starter for a franchise, then I don't know what you're watching. I tend to agree with him on that.
I 1,000% agree.
Here's the problem. If you're Ryan Poles, the GM of Chicago, it's looking like he made the right decision trading out of one for 1 year. Not only how can you do it 2 years in a row, but how can you look your fan base in the eyes and tell them we're not taking Caleb Williams? And there's going to be a lot of Caleb Williams discourse on this podcast for the next 4 months, the next 5 months. There is. But that fan base is going to be pissed. That fan base is not going to take that well. And Ryan Poles' job will hinge on this decision. And he knows that.
But will it? I mean, like, here's the thing. If Justin Fields plays great, if Justin Fields plays great, they win maybe 2 to 3 more games. I mean, like, does the fan base get really mad? Like, I don't see a scenario if you show really
What's
good
their last
improvement.
4 look like?
What's their last 4 what?
What's their last 4 games? Who do
the
they
Bears?
have in their last 4? Yeah.
The Bears' last 4 games. Well, I mean, even though because maybe you're thinking that their pick would elevate higher than 7, which is where it's at right now.
Not what I'm thinking, actually.
So their last 4 games are at Cleveland, which is going to be brutal. Cardinals, which will be easy. Falcons, we'll see. At the Packers.
Say you finish the year 3-1, maybe 4-0. If you run the table here, what do? You've got to stick with it.
Yeah,
you can't. There's no way.
I mean,
there's no way you look.
All those games are winnable with how they've played in the recent weeks.
Game this week is not winnable. They're not beating the Browns.
It is. Oh yeah,
they're not beating the Browns.
No, don't even. The Browns are so
Okay.
inconsistent, bro. One week they'll play great, and the next week they
dude.
won't. I can't trust the Browns. I can't trust the
That's
Browns.
a terrible matchup for Chicago, dog. Terrible
It
matchup.
is.
It's not a good matchup. I think we lost
lose Brad.
I think we lost Brad. It's a terrible matchup, but
Oh, there we go.
with the way Fields has played of late, and dude, Cleveland's defense has regressed. I know we haven't talked about it a lot on here. The defense is not the same unit it was to start the year.
We did talk about
And
it on Thursday.
The Bears defense has turned it the fuck up.
I was just
They've
about to
been
say that.
good.
They've been playing really
They're
good.
a good
Yeah.
unit. Like,
Yeah.
since they made that deal for Sweat, that's a good unit. Like, this is a good football team right now. Their record does not reflect how good they are as a football team. And
Could you
if
imagine?
Fields plays like he's played, would you – all right, I'll put it this way. Would you rather have him or Derek Carr right now?
What?
Oh, Justin Fields. 100%.
How
They're
does
not
that
even-
have any relevance to this?
I'm
Of
just
course
asking
it's
Brad.
Justin Fields.
No, I'm taking Justin Fields.
I'm saying for his
Derek Carr's
future
been
as a
absolute
quarterback.
poo-poo.
Like,
Yeah, no.
and
Future-wise, too, yes.
That should tell you as a team like the Bears, who have never had a franchise quarterback, and you've got a guy finally starting to show some progress, and you're just going to give up on that just to go draft another guy to hope he turns into what Fields is doing right now.
Yeah.
I don't. My thing is, I don't see Caleb as this generational prospect everyone else does. I don't think he's this can't miss prospect. I just don't see it.
I tend to disagree, but
I don't see it.
I see a scenario where you can build around this Chicago team. Amazing. Like, do you know how much? Like, you thought last year's, haul for the number 1 pick was big. This one's going to be fucking insane. Like, it's going to be insane, and you still have cap space where you can pay literally anyone you want to come play there. I think it's a smarter move, if they, finish out the season on a positive note, and if Justin Fields continues to play the way he has been, it's a no-brainer. You trade down, you get as much assets as you can,
and you draft Marvin Harrison Jr.
Exactly.
That's the only trade down you make.
But
even if you don't get them
to make that deal, if they like Drake May a lot, why do they feel the need to send a haul?
No, I'm not saying you need to.
Then you look for someone else.
Honestly, dude, you've already got 2 picks. You don't need a major haul. You don't want to trade out of getting Marvin Harrison Jr.
Well, but let's be honest, though. They're going to get a major haul drafting out of
yeah. Yeah.
But I just don't think you should feel like you have to get this major haul if you have to trade too far down to do it, because you should be all over trying to do everything you can to stay in Marvin Harrison territory.
Listen, Marvin Harrison's really good.
Malik Neighbors is not a bad consolation
I was just about to say.
Do you get him?
Well, this mock has him going at 7.
But if you win out, you don't have that pick at 7. Or if you win 3 out of 4, even if you go 2 and 2, you're not in that spot.
That would change everything.
You have to be very, very careful how far you trade down.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, you don't trade past the Patriots, even if that means you're only getting like a fraction of what you could get from other teams, because I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is worth that.
Yeah. Yeah, he will be.
I think even Neighbors or Marvin Harris, dude, that would be nasty.
I like Neighbors as much as the next guy, but
no, he's not. Listen, he's not Marvin Harris Jr.
It's not the same. It's not even the same weight class.
But still, it would be a very solid unit with him, DJ Moore, Cole Kmet.
I agree.
Oh, that'd be really good. But yeah,
I screwed me. Sorry, Derrick Henry just scored the first touchdown for the Titans. Levis screwed me with a pick 6.
I called him anytime touchdown. It was at like plus 150, easy money.
Yeah, that's ridiculous that it was at that price. But Yeah, man, this is going to be it's all dependent on how the Bears finish out the season, of course. But this is going to be the talk of the next 3 months. And once the trade deadline opens, once the trade window opens and the new league year starts in March, that's when we're going to start to see things kind of pick up. And I think it's pretty much set in stone. The Bears are going to have the number 1 pick thanks to Carolina.
Oh, no, yeah, that's locked.
Yeah.
It's absolutely
We're not
locked.
winning a game.
No, they're going 1-16.
Yep.
But at this point, man, like, just we'll try to answer the question, and then we'll get out of here. What does Fields have to do? Do they have to win 3 more games? Does he have to throw for 250 plus yards in all of them? Like, what does he have to do?
Get to 3,000 for the year?
No, he's close to 2,000 right now, right? That would be insane if he
4 more games.
through 4 more games, he goes from barely 2,000 yards of
250 a game.
Yeah, it is possible. It is possible.
Doable.
For me,
Not
with
very
Justin
likely.
Fields, for me,
not happening. But
for him to continue to be the starting quarterback for the Bears, I think he just needs to be consistent. I think that's the biggest thing. Consistency. He needs to have that. He needs to show that he can stay consistent through these next few games. Can show that he can play at an elite level like he has been. I think
they have to win games.
I do think the wins do have to they have to come in, but also the consistency has to be there. If he plays bad and they win games, then that's going to hurt him a lot.
Well,
but if he can play,
I think this is less about Justin Fields and more about Eberflus.
Yeah.
If Eberflus is fired, it doesn't matter how good Fields plays.
Another
coach isn't inheriting Fields. So this is more. This question is more about: do we think Eberflus is getting fired or not? Yeah. Do we think Eberflus can save his job? Because that's the only way Fields can hang around.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's actually I actually like that answer pretty much. Yeah. It depends on if they finish the season 7-10. I think he holds on to his job. If they fumble,
I tend to agree.
I think if they fumble and fucking poop their pants and then just lose out or only win 1 game, it's over. But I mean, like, here's the thing about Chicago. Either way, they're gonna win. They're gonna win in terms of the scenarios because guess what? If you get rid of Justin Fields, you're going to get some kind of package for him. You still got the number 1 overall pick. You're going to be sitting at probably around 7, 8, 9. So like you're going to have.
I just don't think it's a necessarily a shoe-in that Caleb is this great prospect.
But I mean, they will be building around him. He will have DJ Moore. He'll have a revamped offensive line. Yeah. I like it. I like either way. I feel like it's the future in Chicago is a little bit brighter than it was last year. So
much better.
Oh yeah, and I mean, like I said too, they have a bunch of cap space, so like they can sell a lot of guys, and they can also sell a good head coach coming in too. Like, hey, if they want to get a new head coach, it's like, hey, we have the first overall pick. You can pick Drake May, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, whoever you want. And then, you can go out and sign whoever you want.
If they fire Eberflus, it has to be Ben Johnson.
Oh, 100%.
If it's anybody but Ben Johnson, it's a disappointment in the hiring cycle because this is the number 1 most attractive job.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So, if you don't get him and you play it cheap again, Caleb's going to be a bust. Like, if you bring in another quasi Eberflus, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Like, pay up, go get your coach.
Yeah.
And then you have a shot.
Here's a pretty interesting. I don't know if he's re-signed with this school or not. Could we see Jim Harbaugh potentially come in? And
so the only team that it's reported that he's interested in is the Bears, and that they are finishing up a 5-year, $10.5 million per year deal to keep him at Michigan. However, the only thing that is stopping it is him signing off that he's not going to go to an NFL team.
Yeah.
He's waiting to see how this playoff goes.
I think so too, yeah.
Well, I think if Michigan wins the national championship, what reason does he have to stick around? He's done what he came there for.
But also, if they go get dicked by Bama, he might just jump ship too.
They're not.
Bama. Give me Bama.
Michigan.
I think
Bama's winning the title, dude.
I think it's going to be Bama and Texas, but I just
think Bama's winning the title.
Give me Michigan.
Good luck with that. We will be lock fighting a month from now. Or not a month.
For my friends Josh and Brad, we have had a great pod tonight, and I can't wait to expand this conversation as the rest of the season unfolds throughout the year. But until then, we'll see you for episode 23 on Thursday. For myself and Bradley and Joshua, we will see you next time.